Hey guys, Ryan here. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you a complete breakdown of the Season 2 Warzone meta. I'm going to be covering everything from the best assault rifles, the best SMGs, the best snipers and sniper supports, and I'm also going to be covering things like time to kill, the best attachments, and everything in between. I just want to say thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoy it. If you do enjoy content like this, do consider subscribing, do consider leaving a like, but let's get into it. So first, let's talk about the S tier ARs and LMGs. And number 1, we're going to have the Cold AK, number 2, we're going to have the Bren, number 3, the Automaton, and number 4, the XM4. In the background right now is going to be their attachment, so if you want to know the attachments for any of these guns, pause the video right now and you can just grab them. The one thing I'll say is this is going to really come down to personal preference and whether you're playing Vanguard Royale or just regular Battle Royale. I'm going to pull up a quick time to kill chart. In light blue, you're going to have the Cold AK. In purple, you're going to have the Bren. In green, you're going to have the XM4. And in orange, you're going to have the Automaton. So while the Automaton has clearly the highest time to kill and is one of the slowest killing guns on this list, it has super low recoil in comparison to all of the guns on this list. So if you prefer something like that, then that's what I'd probably go for. I do have the Cold AK number 1 on this list because as you can see on this light blue line, it is the fastest killing AR of the entire bunch and it is 100% worth using if you can control the recoil. If you don't like the Cold AK or the Automaton, do try out the Bren XM4 because as you can see by this chart, they are phenomenal in terms of damage and they're just really good guns to use. And to wrap up the discussion about all of these assault rifles, I'm going to have the A tier ARs and LMGs. Number 1, you have the EM2, number 2, the STG, number 3, the Cooper Carbine, and 4, the Grau. Now, this last section is really in no particular order, and any of these guns are more than viable enough to be used. On the Grau, I'd either use fully loaded or 3x sight. It's kind of up to you on what you prefer, but that's why there's only 4 attachments on that list. But now, let's move on to the SMGs. In number 1, we're going to have the Owen gun, number 2, the Lapa, 3, the Well gun, and 4, the MP40. So in my honest opinion, this is really going to come down to personal preference, as you can see by this time to kill chart. In orange, we have the Owen gun. In light blue, we're going to have the Well gun. In purple, we're going to have the MP40. And then in the green, kind of hidden between those two, we're going to have the Lapa. So as you can see by that orange line, the Owen gun is the only one that really has almost any statistical advantage, but it does suffer from the fact that it's less mobile than all of the other SMGs on this list and has a much slower rate of fire, but it does have a much longer damage range and is really good in the mid-range. Almost any of these guns are just as good as one another, and just use whatever one is your personal preference. The MP40 and the Well gun are a little bit more mobile than the Lapa and the Owen gun, but the Owen gun has more damage range but a slower rate of fire, and the Lapa just has a certain feel to it which makes it just a super good gun to use overall, and as you can see by the time to kill, it's extremely competitive. So for the A tier SMGs, you're going to have the OTS-9, the CX-9, the Cold War Model for MP5, and in the final 4 spot, the Type 100. All of these guns are really good to use. They're super good in their own right. They may not be as good as some of the top tier meta picks, but if you enjoy these guns, you can guaranteed get results with them, and they're more than viable enough to compete with the top tier guns. Now, let's move on from there and let's talk about sniper supports. In the number 1 spot, we're going to have the Owen gun. In number 2 spot, we have the Cold AK. And the number 3 spot, we're going to have the Lapa with the special build. So we're going to go back to the time to kill chart here, and in orange you're going to have the Owen gun, in that light blue you're going to have the Lapa, and in that purple you're going to have the Colder AK. The main thing you want in a sniper support is a gun that can compete with other close range guns up close, but it can also compete in the mid range, and that's what makes it a sniper support. All 3 of these guns fit that perfectly. The Colder AK is phenomenal up to 30 meters, the Owen gun is insane between 0 and 18 meters, and the Lapa is just absolutely steady between 0 and 30 meters. All of these guns have their own particular feel, and it really comes down to personal preference and which one you prefer. But I will say the Owen gun to me is right now my favorite, and I'd really recommend giving it a try. Let's move on now to the A tier sniper supports. In the number 1 spot, we're going to have the CX-9, number 2, the MP40, number 3, the Well gun, and number 4, the XM4. There's honestly also a lot more than just these, because the sniper support position is kind of wide open right now. I think guns like the Cooper Carbine, for example, the MP7 from Modern Warfare, all of those are actually really good, and it's not just the guns I have on this list, and I plan to do a full sniper support breakdown later this week. But now let's get into the snipers you want to run with these sniper supports. In number 1, you have the Modern Warfare Kar 98. In number 2, you're going to have the Swiss. And at number 3, the 3-line rifle. So both the Kar 98 and the Swiss kind of remain on top, but there are a couple builds with the 3-line rifle, the Kar 98, and other guns like that that kind of get close to the power of the Modern Warfare Kar 98 and the Cold War Swiss. Unfortunately, just the way it kind of stands right now, there is real no substitute for the power of how good the Swiss and the Kar 98 are. I will say that the Vanguard Kar 98, the Grashenko anti-tank rifle, and the SPR are all viable and can all compete. I will say they're just not as good as the original 3 that I mentioned, and the Kar 98 and the Swiss kind of stand atop, even above the 3-line rifle. But if you are playing Vanguard Royale only, I'd really recommend the 3-line rifle, Grashenko anti-tank rifle, or the Vanguard Kar 98. I kind of try to do this a little bit quicker than I've done past videos, and I wanted to just put in as much information as I could as quickly as possible. That's why there was very little gameplay in this video, because I wanted to fit in the time to kill charts, I wanted to fit in all the attachments, and I wanted to just fit in everyone knowing what guns are really good right now. There's a lot of guns to cover, and I had to leave off a lot of guns because it just wasn't time nor space for me to fit them all and talk about them all, and I do have to make a reasonable cutoff. How many guns can actually be considered meta? I already have 8 guns about for every gun class, and I'd say that's one of the best parts about Warzone right now. The meta is extremely diverse and you have a ton of options, and you shouldn't feel too worried exactly about what you're running, but do be wary. There are a couple guns that really stand out. Do give a lot of the guns I put on here a try, and there's a reason why I put 4 or 5 in the S tier option. I want people to have options. I want people to feel like they just don't have to run 1 or 2 guns in particular, and I want people to feel like they actually have a chance to use more than just one gun. I hope you guys have a good day. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do enjoy content like this, consider subscribing. But I just want to say thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have a good day.